But for Lilongwe, today is the open day for Lilongwe, 17th of July 2024. My name is Wonder Msisia. I am your host this morning. Before we start our program, may I please request Abusa MacLeod Muntali to give us the opening prayer. Abusa.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for who you are. We thank you for the gift of life that you have given us this morning. We also thank you for the traveling message that you gave us as we are coming here. Father, as we are prepared to have this open day, we ask you to be with us. There will be some speeches and some people showcasing different things. Father, we ask you that you bless it all so that we build our nation, Malawi, in this sector of telecommunication. We also want to ask that in everything that we're going to do should bring glory to your name. It is in Jesus' name that I've prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Abusa Muntali. Secretary to the Information and Digitalization, Mr. Bodwin Samuel Chiamwaka. Macra Board Chairperson, Mrs. Bridget. Regulating and advancing telecommunications, broadcasting and internet services in Malawi. But to give us more on this and others at this time, I would humbly request the representative for Macra DG, Mr. Barnett Namacha, to give us the welcoming remarks. Bwana Namacha, sir. Thank you.
The Secretary for the Ministry of Information and Digitalization, the Board Chairperson of Macra, and all the Board Directors of Macra present, Macra Management and the members of staff of Macra, invited licensed operators, members of the general public, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing before you on behalf of the Director General of Macra to welcome you to Macra Open Week. We started this activity last Monday in Blantyre, and today we are here in Lilongwe, and after Lilongwe then we'll go to Nzuzu. Macra decided to be having open days to ensure that we interact with our stakeholders, consumers, and the general public on what we do. As we all know, Macra was established by an Act of Parliament, the Communications Act of 1998, which was reviewed in 2016. The mandate for Macra is to regulate communication services in the country. Communication services in the Communications Act of 2016 refers to telecommunications or electronic communication, broadcasting or content services, and postal and courier services. So these three sectors are supposed to be regulated by the authority, which is Macra Board. Anyone operating in the telecommunication sector, the broadcasting sector, or the postal sector is supposed to have a license that is supposed to be issued by the authority, which is Macra. However, at times, we have been faced with situations where we are informed that other operators are operating without a license, especially in the postal and courier. We just want to encourage all operators or would-be operators to ensure that whenever they want to do legal business in Malawi, they should get a license from the authority. As for this activity, the purpose is to be engaging with you, our stakeholders, the licensed operators, the general public, and the media. Today, we are being represented by our policy holder, which is the Minister of Information, being represented by the Secretary for Information. Macra itself, the authority is here, the board chairperson and other board members. Macra management is here. All departments and directorates and units at Macra are all here. So if you have any questions pertaining to what Macra does, then you are free to ask those questions, because the whole Macra or representatives of Macra are all here. If you have questions pertaining to the policy holder, the PS of the Secretary for Information is here. If you have issues pertaining to the Macra board, the authority itself, the authority is here. If you have issues about Macra management is here. If you have issues about units, departments, or directorates of Macra, they are all here. We are a regulator established by an act of parliament. We are a public institution, therefore we are supposed to be accountable to the people of Malawi. That's why it was decided within Macra that we should be having open days in all our major cities across Malawi. Beyond having these open days in the cities, it is also being suggested that we should be having these open functions in various places across the country. So that will be taken into account, so that Macra should be accountable to everyone in every corner of the country. We welcome you to this function here in Lilongwe. Feel free, Macra board is here. If you have any issues about Macra or Macra management, you can raise the issues. The policy holder is here, and all the various departments are here. So we welcome you to Macra Open Day here in Lilongwe. Feel free, and we look forward to a constructive engagement up to around 4 p.m. today. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
We can do better. Let's put our hands together one more time for Acting Director for Postal Services at Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Mr. Barnett Namacha, giving us the welcoming remarks on behalf of the Macra DG, Mr. Daud Suleiman. I think some takeaways in what he was just saying, in pursuit of accountability. That's why the regulator today is engaging with the players in the sector as well as the general public, that we can engage. So the key word is engagement. We need to engage. So we talk to each other. We listen to each other. They can never be the regulator without the player. And as the player, for us to have sanity, we need to have the regulator. So today provides us with that opportunity that we get to talk to each other, so that we get to understand each other better. Two cannot work together unless they agree. So it's a question of an agreement as we work together towards developing our country in the sector that we are engaged in. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Namacha. At this juncture, I would like to request humbly the Macra Board Chairperson, Mrs. Bridget Chibwana, to give us her remarks. Madam.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. I'm sure you have noted that management at Macra don't have time to write their speeches. They speak impromptu. And I'm very proud to be chair of a team that is very eloquent and ready to articulate issues pertaining to Macra. However, being a BCC, I'm going to read my speech. Secretary for Information and Digitalization, Mr. Bodwin Chiamwaka, who is here representing the Minister responsible for information and digitalization, my fellow Macra Board Directors, Mr. Bennett Namacha, representing Director General, distinguished operators, stakeholders, and students from various schools, Macra management and members of staff, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Kaya muli bwanji. Hey, koma kuyanka waja. It's an engagement. It's not a very formal function. It's an engagement. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, that's better. I always take pride at functions like these to introduce the board of Macra so that when we are engaging, you should know who to approach in case you have issues that ought to be addressed by the board in addition to knowing the chair. So may I request my fellow directors to stand so that I can introduce you formally. We have Director Malakawale, Director Stella Chuti, Director Aodala Menyani, and of course the Secretary for Information, who is also a director on the Macra board. Thank you very much, directors. May I now request Macra management to stand so that the audience can notice you. Can face. That's part of Macra management. Thank you very much. I would like to once again and in a special way welcome you all distinguished participants to this Macra Open Day and appreciate your presence. As it has already been mentioned, Macra has organized Open Days with the aim to provide an interactive forum with operators and consumers in order for us to enhance our regulatory function. These Open Days are taking place in 3 cities. Last Monday, we had an Open Day in Blantyre. Today, we are here in Lilongwe. And next week, God willing, we will finalize with Mzuzu City. We also aim to hold Open Days in the communities so that we reach out to the consumers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Macra is expecting that the interaction during these Open Days will, among several others, allow prospective licensees to obtain feedback on queries or information on how to operate an ICT business in Malawi, provide information on Macra's regulatory function, tools needed and required expertise, assist prospective license applicants with procedures and any requirements that may need clarification. As Macra, we also intend to provide updates to consumers and stakeholders on the latest developments being carried out in the communications sector. And we also have an opportunity to discuss frequency allocation, current status, challenges, and solutions. Bwana PS, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Macra, as the regulatory body for the communications sector in Malawi, is responsible for ensuring a robust regulatory framework that encourages fair competition, protection of consumer interests, and fostering an environment conducive to innovation and investment. For us to achieve this and maintain the integrity and stability of the ICT sector, we employ a range of tools and expertise. These include spectrum management, licensing, monitoring compliance, and consumer protection. The continuous development of these tools and the enhancement of our regulatory capacity are vital for addressing and evolving challenges of the ICT landscape. Let me reiterate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that this interaction with operators, consumers, and stakeholders will help us to keep our regulatory framework up to date with the expectations of players, including the consumer of different communication services. One of the core principles guiding Macra's operations is that of transparency. And we believe at Macra that transparent regulatory processes build trust and confidence among stakeholders. Through this open day, Macra is committed to ensuring that its actions and decisions are open to scrutiny and that stakeholders have a clear understanding of regulatory requirements and processes. Secretary for Information and Digitalization, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, frequency allocation remains a critical issue in the ICT sector. Efficient spectrum management is therefore essential for ensuring that all operators have fair access to the frequencies they need to deliver services. Macra is continually working and implementing solutions to optimize frequency use and ensure equitable distribution. It is expected that the current status of frequency allocation and steps being taken to overcome challenges will be discussed in detail during this open day. Our guest of honor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, during this week, we will continue to highlight key projects, innovations, and initiatives that are shaping the future of the ICT sector in Malawi. These include advancements in digital infrastructure, efforts to enhance connectivity, and initiatives aimed at bridging the digital divide. I extend, on behalf of the Macra board, my gratitude to all the participants for your presence and engagement. Let us work together to build a vibrant, resilient, and inclusive ICT sector that serves the needs of all Malawians in all their diversity, thereby enabling an environment that is conducive to investment, closing the digital divide, strengthening public-private partnerships, and community system strengthening, and of course, supporting innovation. Special thanks go to all those who have contributed to the success of this event. Your efforts are greatly appreciated, and we look forward to fruitful discussions and outcomes that will emerge from this open day. Guests of honor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and on behalf of Macra Board, I wish you all a productive and insightful Macra Open Day. And allow me at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the Secretary for Information and Digitalization, Mr. Bodwin Samuel Chiamwaka, to deliver a speech on behalf of the Minister of Information and Digitalization, Honorable Moses Kunkuyu Kalonga Shawa. Thank you very much for your attention, and may God bless us all. Thank you.
Morning nonse. Morning nonse. I'm standing here privileged and honored to make a statement or a speech on behalf of the Minister of Information and Digitalization, Honorable Moses Kunkuyu Kalonga Shawa, who has sent his apologies for not being with us. He had planned to attend all the open days in Blantyre, here in Lilongwe today, and next week in Mzuzu. But given a number of roles that he fills, as cabinet minister, he's also needed elsewhere, somewhere to do some other functions. So I would have loved this morning to compete with the Macra management, a speech on top of my head, but I'm obliged to read it. So I'll read it as it is. Macra Board Chairperson Mrs. Bridget Chibwana and all Macra directors who are present here, representative of Macra Director General, Mr. Barnett Namacha, who is acting director for postal services at Macra, operators, licensees, and all stakeholders who are here, members of the media. Sometimes I have a habit of isolating those that my eyes have easily spotted in the group. For example, we have the CEO of MTL in our midst. We have the chair, the vice chair, Mr. Malawi, who is also here, and distinguished, ladies and gentlemen who are present. Good morning to you all. I feel greatly honored, as I said, and delighted to join at the start of this, at the second open day here in Lilongwe, open week for Macra. This is the second, and the first was on Monday in Blantyre. The third, which is also the last, to be in Mzuzu next week. And the open week is aimed at providing an interactive forum with operators and consumers to allow Macra enhance its regulatory functions, among others. Perhaps I can put a parenthesis there to say Macra is trying to make enforcement of regulation and laws in a friendly, open, transparent, and accountable manner as possible.
Board Chair Macra, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the communication sector is dynamic and rapidly evolving, and keeping pace with the latest developments is crucial for meeting our needs and of consumers. Let me therefore encourage all of you to seize this opportunity to engage, to collaborate, and to contribute to discussions. The representative of the DG mentioned this, the board chair also mentioned this, and I want to echo, to reiterate that it's an opportunity to come here and engage with the regulator. So your active participation is essential for the success of this event and the continued development of our communication sector. The sector is possible because of you, licensees, operators, and the consumers. Just like the hospital, you can never have a hospital without a patient. You wouldn't have a school without a learner. You wouldn't have Macra without the consumers, licensees, operators, and so on and so forth. So you are at the center of this open day. Very, very important. So your active participation is critical and crucial. Board Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this open week offers an opportunity for all stakeholders to collectively work together to foster a vibrant and inclusive ICT sector in Malawi. May I mention that the government, through the very able leadership of His Excellency, the State President, Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, recognizes the importance of ICT in driving socio-economic development. Recently, just a week ago, he made it very, very, very clear that digitalization of this country is at his heart. The President has actually made digital transformation as one of the goals of his government. Government policies are therefore designed to support innovation, enhance connectivity, and ensure that the benefits of digitalization reach every corner of our nation. The prosperity of our country hinges on our ability to embrace and adapt to the rapid pace of technology change or technological change. In pursuit of this goal, I am pleased to announce that Cabinet recently approved the National Digitalization Policy and the Digital Economy Strategy, which are significant milestones in our collective efforts to advance digital transformation in the country. Further to this, the Ministry of Information and Digitalization is also investing in crucial ICT infrastructure, promoting digital literacy and skills development, and fostering collaboration between the public and private sectors. Initiatives such as the construction of data center in Lilongwe, which is near completion in terms of the structure, maybe the target date is October, but functionality might be next year, in the underway. And the erection of solar-powered telecommunication towers in rural areas and the connectivity of over 500 government institutions to the internet across the country, including higher education and secondary schools, lay a foundation for a vibrant and resilient digital economy. I had the opportunity recently to visit some of these. There are so many untold stories in the ICT tech sector, that have happened over the past 4 years. And it is my appeal also on behalf of the minister and the ministry that we need to bring these stories out. Lots of nice, wonderful things are happening out there, and there is evidence. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, government's commitment to promoting ICT can also be seen through the installation of free public Wi-Fi at various sites, such as markets and the airports, and the development of the Malawi Interoperability and Data Exchange Platform, Enterprise Service Bus. Additionally, government has also provided $2 million in support of tech hubs. This is obviously milestones towards transformation or digitalization. I remember about 3 years ago, an international meeting failed in Malawi because I was part of it. But this Panswad Kamu area said, no, in Malawi it's difficult. At the airport you cannot access, internet. Many places don't have, and we want to continue working. But I think that's the story now of the past. And we are moving towards where we are making Malawi likable, convenient for everyone across the globe. I'm pleased to also announce that recently government secured 150 million grant from the World Bank for the Digital Acceleration Project. This is a successor to the Digital Malawi Foundation project, which my ministry, that's on behalf of the ministers, foundation project, which my ministry has been implementing in collaboration with the Public-Private Partnership Commission. This project will further boost Malawi's digitalization efforts and transform our participation in the digital economy. In addition, a UNDP-funded basket of $10 million has also been availed to Malawi government through the Inclusive Digital Transformation Project. So you can see there is an injection of lots of money, financial resources towards digitalization, both by government but also by our partners. And very soon maybe we'll be making known the completion of the last mile project, where the last remaining areas where the towers haven't been put will shortly be completed. Malawi is also among countries that have been earmarked to benefit from the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, Africa BB Maps initiative, which will assist to bridge the digital divide and ensure digital inclusivity. Through this initiative, Malawi and other 11 sub-Saharan African countries will receive 15 million euros, which is almost 28 billion Malawi kwacha, for development of broadband mapping system that can produce readily available validated data to identify internet connectivity gaps in coverage, quality, and affordability. Board Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, looking ahead, our vision for ICT sector is one of growth, innovation, and inclusivity. No one is going to be left behind. No innovation is going to be left behind. No stunted growth for digitalization. We know that by leveraging the power of digital technologies, we can create opportunities, enhance service delivery, and improve the quality of life for all Malawians. Macra's role as the regulator for the communication sector is therefore crucial. It ensures fair competition, protects consumer interests, and fosters an environment conducive for innovation and investment. So while we are talking about all these developments, growth, innovation, Macra, you are very, very crucial and critical for the reasons that I have mentioned. This open week is therefore crucial for Macra to get insights from operators, licensees, and consumers on how best to effectively and progressively regulate Malawi's communication sector. Let me conclude by asking all stakeholders here to join hands and work towards leveraging digital transformation as a gateway to economic empowerment and to harness the power of technology to build a brighter future for ourselves and the generations to come. Perhaps just one sentence as a Secretary for Information to say Macra is a model, is giving an example using enforcement methods that are friendly that are accountable, that are transparent. Congratulations. My fellow chair, my fellow directors and management, let's continue this. And we are encouraging all statutory corporations that are under the oversight of the Ministry of Information and Digitalization to follow suit. And last week on Monday, I personally made an appeal along with the Honorable Minister that maybe we can also innovate in terms of the methods that we use. We can use also other methods like diagnostic methods where you do public hearing. Directors go and management into districts to hear from people, especially those, on the ground. What are their experiences in terms of use of technologies as it impinges on the, regulation? We can also do mobile clinics where you go to provide the services. And in that way, we are making Macra very accessible. Not all people can come here, and not everyone can access the offices. But this is a very good initiative that we are already doing, and let's continue with it. It's a transparent and accountable way of being a regulator. Macra is demonstrating the wish and the desire of government through the ministry, not only to carry a whip and then run around with it. And then you whip somebody who has who violated whip. But Macra is in the tendency of capacitating, empowering users, licensees. I've participated in Macra's trainings. I've been a facilitator before I was in this position, so I know the history is very good. Having said that, use these opportunities, ladies and gentlemen, ask, interact, and interrogate issues. And let's make it a more lively, more productive session. And on behalf of the Honorable Minister, I would like to formally open this open day in Lilongwe today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's put our hands together for our guest of honor, Secretary for Information and Digitalization, Mr. Bodwin Samuel Macra, who actually reminded us in Blantyre that he is not the principal secretary, because the principal secretary is a junior. He is a major senior secretary for Information and Digitalization, Bodwin Samuel Macra. Thank you very much, guest of honor and board chair. Just some takeaways from what the secretary said. I think the key word is that let us interact, because Macra is making itself accessible to the operators, consumers, and all the players in the sector, that we can interact so we get to talk to each other. But also there are some key developments that have been made in the sector. From World Bank, $115 million for the digital transformation, $10 million from the US, similar. So there is a recognition that digital is the future. So there are a lot of resources that are going into the digital sector to make sure that as the rest of the world is going digital, Malawi is also not left behind in joining the digital sector, because the future is digital, and Macra is trying to make it fair for the players, but also consumers are protected as they are regulating the sector. Next, we'll be getting a presentation from the representative of Macra DG, but before we do that, we'll also get the refreshments, as we'll be waiting for the acting director for postal services to give us the presentation. But I also just wanted to highlight some key issues that the board chair made in her speech, where she is just underscoring the fact that it's an open day. Macra is dedicated this week to interact with all of us to make sure that Those that have applied for their licenses and are waiting for feedback, you get a chance probably today to get your feedback. You also get to get the clarifications, because all the units at Macra are present here. You will see that there are desks in here where you get to go there and ask individual questions to the individual units that probably you're expecting your responses from. But also this interaction is going to keep the regulatory framework up to date, because we get to get feedback. Frequency is key, so its allocation needs to have that interaction to make sure that it's equitable. I always say, if we want to be on the same page, first we must be in the same book. We can never be on the same page if we are not in the same book. So we need to be in the same book, then we worry about being on the same page. So this provides us with that opportunity. We interact to be in the same book, so we be on the same page. We move together forward. Thank you very much. Guest of honor, thank you very much. Board chair and your board members and all the Macra staff present. At this time, I'll request us to grab refreshments at the back. We come back and sit in our places as we wait to hear a presentation from the Acting Director of Postal Services, Mr. Barnett Namacha. Just to also give us more information, what is going to happen now is that after the presentation of Mr. Namacha, we're going to have questions and answers, a Q&A session, and after that we're going to have an interaction or consultation until 4 p.m. So Macra staff is here available to engage with us specific questions. But during the Q&A, you can ask those general questions that you may wish the Minister of Information to respond on, Macra board, but also probably Macra staff. But in the afternoon, up to 4, we can go in those individual units to ask those individual questions. I just wanted to make that point clear. So with your indulgence, board chair and the guest of honor, I wanted us now to have refreshments as we wait to hear from the presentation from Mr. Barnett Namacha. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll start with the high table, guest of honor, board chair, and your board members. We go grab our snacks at the back there, come back and sit, and then we'll continue with the presentation before we move to Q&A. Yes, management of Macra, you can follow.
posachedwapa intaneti yotsika mtengo ndi yodalirika ifika m'madera akumidzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno.
Ndidzatha kufufuza ndi kuphunzira zambiri zofunikira za maphunziro anga kudzera pa intaneti. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
Ndidzatha kujambula zithunzi za zokolola zanga ndi kumasasa malonda kudzera pa WhatsApp. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
Ndidzatha kulumikizana ndi azibusanza kuti aone komanso angakhale mayiko akunja. Ndikuchita kuona kuchedwa.
Tikuona kuchedwa kuti yathu data ifalikire m'midzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno kuti Malawi aliyense akhale ndi mwayi wa intaneti. Yathu data ikubwera posachedwapa kudera lanu kuchokera ku thumba la Universal Service Fund USF ndi bungwe la Macra. Kuti mudziwe zambiri imbani 261 mwaulere.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Soon and very soon, in the most remote areas of Malawi, affordable and reliable internet service is coming.
I will be able to search for academic information that will improve my grades in school. I can't wait.
I will be able to send pictures of my produce and do business via WhatsApp. I can't wait.
I'll be able to send and receive emails and communicate with fellow men of God anywhere in the world. I can't wait.
We can't wait for Yatu Data, an affordable and reliable broadband internet service coming soon to make internet accessible to everyone. Yatu Data, coming soon to your district by the Universal Service Fund, USF and Macra. For more information, dial toll-free line.
Kukhazikitsa Central Equipment Identity Register, CEIR. Inde makina a CEIR apereka chitetezo kwa eni handset ndi mafoni am'manja popereka mphamvu za mtsatira kapena zoletsa kugwiritsa ntchito foni yawo pamene yasowa kapena yabedwa. Mphamvu yooneratu ngati foni ili ya original kapena ya fake asanagule, komanso mphamvu yonenera mafoni okhudzidwa ndi zaukathyali kuti asathe kugwiritsidwa pa network iliyonse muno m'Malawi.
Wow! Chingira!
Chitetezo cha foni ya m'manja patsogolo. Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri, lumikizanani ndi bungwe la Macra pa email dg@macra.mw kapena imbani 261 mwaulere pa network iliyonse muno m'Malawi. Uthengawu likukupatsirani ndi boma la Malawi kudzera mbungwe la Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
To be true.
Hello?
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Introducing the Central Equipment Identity Registry, CEIR.
Yes, the CEIR will empower mobile subscribers and strengthen their security by allowing them to block or trace stolen mobile phones, check the genuineness of a mobile device while buying, and blacklist mobile devices involved in illicit activities across all mobile network operators in Malawi.
Wow! Chingira! Put your mobile device security first.
For more information, contact Macra via email dg@macra.mw or call 261 toll-free from any Malawian telephone network. This message is brought to you by the Malawi government via the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
Introducing the Central Equipment Identity Registry, CEIR.
Yes, the CEIR will empower mobile subscribers and strengthen their security by allowing them to block or trace stolen mobile phones, check the genuineness of a mobile device while buying, and blacklist mobile devices involved in illicit activities across all mobile network operators in Malawi.
Wow! Chingira! Put your mobile device security first.
For more information, contact Macra via email dg@macra.mw or call 261 toll-free from any Malawian telephone network. This message is brought to you by the Malawi government via the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Kukhazikitsa Central Equipment Identity Register, CEIR. Inde makina a CEIR apereka chitetezo kwa eni handset ndi mafoni am'manja popereka mphamvu za mtsatira kapena zoletsa kugwiritsa ntchito foni yawo pamene yasowa kapena yabedwa. Mphamvu yooneratu ngati foni ili ya original kapena ya fake asanagule, komanso mphamvu yonenera mafoni okhudzidwa ndi zaukathyali kuti asathe kugwiritsidwa pa network iliyonse muno Malawi.
Wow! Chingira!
chitetezo cha foni ya m'manja patsogolo. Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri, lumikizanani ndi bungwe la Macra pa email dg@macra.mw kapena imbani 261 mwaulere pa network iliyonse muno m'Malawi. Uthengawu likukupatsirani ndi boma la Malawi kudzera mbungwe la Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
posachedwapa intaneti yotsika mtengo ndi yodalirika ifika m'madera akumidzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno.
Ndizidzatha kufufuza ndi kuphunzira zambiri zofunikira za maphunziro anga kudzera pa intaneti. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
Ndizidzatha kujambula zithunzi za zokolola zanga ndi kumasasa malonda kudzera pa WhatsApp. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
Ndidzatha kulumikizana ndi azibusanza kuti aone komanso angakhale mayiko akunja. Ndikuchita kuona kuchedwa.
Tikuona kuchedwa kuti yathu data ifalikire m'midzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno kuti Malawi aliyense akhale ndi mwayi wa intaneti. Yathu data ikubwera posachedwapa kudera lanu kuchokera ku thumba la Universal Service Fund USF ndi bungwe la Macra. Kuti mudziwe zambiri imbani 261 mwaulere.
Introducing the Central Equipment Identity Registry, CEIR.
Yes, the CEIR will empower mobile subscribers and strengthen their security by allowing them to block or trace stolen mobile phones, check the genuineness of a mobile device while buying, and blacklist mobile devices involved in illicit activities across all mobile network operators in Malawi.
Wow! Chingira! Put your mobile device security first.
For more information, contact Macra via email dg@macra.mw or call 261 toll-free from any Malawian telephone network. This message is brought to you by the Malawi government via the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Kukhazikitsa Central Equipment Identity Register, CEIR. Inde makina a CEIR apereka chitetezo kwa eni ma handset ndi mafoni am'manja popereka mphamvu za mtsatira kapena zoletsa kugwiritsa ntchito foni yawo pamene yasowa kapena yabedwa. Mphamvu yooneratu ngati foni ili ya original kapena ya fake asanagule, komanso mphamvu yonenera mafoni okhudzidwa ndi zaukathyali kuti asathe kugwiritsidwa pa network iliyonse muno Malawi.
Wow! Chingira!
Chitetezo cha foni ya m'manja patsogolo. Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri, lumikizanani ndi bungwe la Macra pa email dg@macra.mw kapena imbani 261 mwaulere pa network iliyonse muno Malawi. Uthengawu likukupatsirani ndi boma la Malawi kudzera mbungwe la Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
posachedwapa intaneti yotsika mtengo ndi yodalirika ifika m'madera akumidzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno.
Ndizizatha kufufuza ndi kuphunzira zambiri zofunikira za maphunziro anga kudzera pa intaneti. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
ndizizatha kujambula zithunzi za zokolola zanga ndi kumasasa malonda kudzera pa WhatsApp. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
Ndidzatha kulumikizana ndi azibosanza kuti aone komanso angakhale mayiko akunja. Ndikuchita kuona kuchedwa.
Tikuona kuchedwa kuti yathu data ifalikire m'midzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno kuti Malawi aliyense akhale ndi mwayi wa intaneti. Yathu data ikubwera posachedwapa kudera lanu kuchokera ku thumba la Universal Service Fund USF ndi bungwe la Macra. Kuti mudziwe zambiri imbani 261 mwaulere.
Introducing the Central Equipment Identity Registry, CEIR.
Yes, the CEIR will empower mobile subscribers and strengthen their security by allowing them to block or trace stolen mobile phones, check the genuineness of a mobile device while buying, and blacklist mobile devices involved in illicit activities across all mobile network operators in Malawi.
Wow! Chingira! Put your mobile device security first.
For more information, contact Macra via email dg@macra.mw or call 261 toll-free from any Malawian telephone network. This message is brought to you by the Malawi government via the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Kukhazikitsa Central Equipment Identity Register, CEIR. Inde makina a CEIR apereka chitetezo kwa eni handset ndi mafoni am'manja popereka mphamvu za mtsatira kapena zoletsa kugwiritsa ntchito foni yawo pamene yasowa kapena yabedwa. Mphamvu yooneratu ngati foni ili ya original kapena ya fake asanagule. Komanso mphamvu yonenera mafoni okhudzidwa ndi zaukathyali kuti asathe kugwiritsidwa pa network iliyonse muno Malawi.
Wow! Chingira!
Chitetezo cha foni ya m'manja patsogolo. Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri, lumikizanani ndi bungwe la Macra pa email dg@macra.mw kapena imbani 261 mwaulere pa network iliyonse muno Malawi. Uthengawu likukupatsirani ndi boma la Malawi kudzera mbungwe la Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
Posachedwapa, intaneti yotsika mtengo ndi yodalirika ifika m'madera akumidzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno.
Ndidzatha kufufuza ndi kuphunzira zambiri zofunikira za maphunziro anga kudzera pa intaneti. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
Ndidzatha kujambula zithunzi za zokolola zanga ndi kumasasa malonda kudzera pa WhatsApp. Ndikuona kuchedwa.
Ndidzatha kulumikizana ndi azibusanza kuti aone komanso angakhale mayiko akunja. Ndikuchita kuona kuchedwa.
Tikuona kuchedwa kuti yathu data ifalikire m'midzi ndi m'maboma onse m'dziko muno kuti Malawi aliyense akhale ndi mwayi wa intaneti. Yathu data ikubwera posachedwapa kudera lanu kuchokera ku thumba la Universal Service Fund USF ndi bungwe la Macra. Kuti mudziwe zambiri, imbani 261 mwaulere.
Introducing the Central Equipment Identity Registry, CEIR.
Yes, the CEIR will empower mobile subscribers and strengthen their security by allowing them to block or trace stolen mobile phones, check the genuineness of a mobile device while buying, and blacklist mobile devices involved in illicit activities across all mobile network operators in Malawi.
Wow! Chingira! Put your mobile device security first.
For more information, contact Macra via email dg@macra.mw or call 261 toll-free from any Malawian telephone network. This message is brought to you by the Malawi government via the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Macra.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked. So give me your current password.
Beware of mobile money fraud. Do not share your password with anyone, not even an employee of any mobile phone operator or bank. Don't send money to any unknown person. Report any suspicious communication you may receive on your mobile phone by contacting your mobile phone operator or bank or your nearest police station.
This message is brought to you by Macra. For more information, dial 261.
Beware of mobile money fraud. It comes in so many ways too good to be true.
Hello, I've sent money accidentally to your phone. I'm sure you received an SMS. Would you please send it back to me?
Beware, someone could be trying to entice you so they can steal from you.
What? I've received some money from relatives and I have to call this number to get the money?
Beware, you could be sending your own money to a fraudster.
Hello? Dear customer, I'm calling from the customer care. I need to assist you to reset your password to avoid getting your phone blocked.
Bwana, board members, representative of Macra, DG, Mr. Namacha, stakeholders and Macra staff, I welcome you to the second part of our discussion this morning on the open day. But probably before I ask Mr. Namacha to come forward to do his presentation, just wanted 2 minutes to share my experience with Macra so that how this open day looks like to me personally. So this year marks 23 years of me in the broadcasting sector. So as a junior manager then, we got a letter from Macra inviting us for a chat. I remember quite well. The letter said, we inviting you for a chat at Macra. So naive as I was, I thought it was a chat. So we went there, me, of course, with 2 of my colleagues, arrived at Macra offices in Blantyre, welcomed by the lady at the reception, ushered us into the boardroom. As we were waiting for the rest of the members to join us, there were just 3 of us, but to our surprise, the whole army of Macra was there, led by the then DG. And one of the colleagues that I worked with before joining Macra, he had joined Macra, came with his speakers and a radio. And then we started asking each other, what type of a chat is this one now? So they played a clip of what had aired then that necessitated for this chat. And immediately they finished that clip, we knew exactly now what was before us. They did the introduction, the DG, the Director of Legal Affairs, this Director of Broadcasting, you know, they were there. And before they even asked us or to tell us what we had done wrong, after the Director of Legal Affairs had finished his introduction, the next thing that came out of his mouth was, do you know that we can revoke your license right now? And then we're looking at each other. So this is the chat where before we even asked to say, guys, what is this and in what context was it used in, what, you know, blah, 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 blah. Our license can be revoked. I'm a junior manager. I'm representing bosses that are not even there. How do I go back and say, I mean, the chat that they invited us, actually, they've just revoked our license. So, why am I saying this? I am sharing this because it's been a journey to have Macra to invite us over so that we can have this discussion, a proper chat, as chat must be, because I didn't know that chat had so many faces. But this is the chat that I've always known, that we come together, we can talk to each other. But Macra had its own definition of a chat then. So I take this as an opportunity for us as operators, that we get to talk to the regulator in a very friendly environment where everyone is listening to the other, but you're also allowed to give feedback, because feedback is always 2 ways. As I get feedback, I must also be allowed to give feedback. So I don't know how it is like in the other sector, like maybe the internet service provider, internet service or telcos and postal and courier, but in broadcasting, my colleagues, I think, know what I'm talking about. Particularly even the season that we're coming to, where we're going to be having the elections, this is a very, very, very notorious period for us as broadcasters. We really need to manage it well. So coming from where Macra was to here, where we could be sitting here, talking to each other, giving feedback in a very friendly manner, I see that as quite a development. I thought maybe we could put our hands together for the regulator for this opportunity. Guest of honor, Madam Chair, thank you very much. There is progress where we get to sit in a friendly manner, talk to each other without fear of losing your license, probably because you thought it was a chat when actually they brought in big guns. Now, to continue with our program this morning, I am going to invite Mr. Namacha, who is sitting in for the DG, Mr. Daud Suleiman, to give us the presentation that is going to usher us into Q&A. So like I had said earlier, the Q&A that we're going to do immediately after the presentation are the general ones, where we also want to ask the ministry that is represented by the secretary, probably the board that is being chaired by Mrs. Chibwana, and the staff. But for the other specific issues to do with the units at the regulator, then that is provided for in the consultation that we're going to have until 4 p.m. this afternoon. I wanted to set those ground rules so that at least we get to manage the Q&A in a better way. So at this juncture, may I ask Mr. Namacha to come forward to give us the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Mr. Namacha.
The Secretary for Information and Digitalization, Mr. Chiamwaka, Macra Board Chairperson, Madam Bridget Chibwana, the Board Directors, Macra Management and members of staff, our distinguished operators, consumers present, members of the general public, ladies and gentlemen. I'm standing in for the Director General to make a short presentation on one of the key initiatives that is being implemented at Macra. As we all know, Macra was established by an Act of Parliament of 1998, the Communications Act of 1998, which was reviewed in 2016. In the Communications Act, Macra was established to regulate the provision of communication services in the country. As I said earlier, in the Act, when we talk of communication services, we talk of telecommunications or electronic services, broadcasting or content services, and postal and courier services. These are the communication services that are being referred to in the Communications Act of 2016, as previously Communications Act of 1998. In the Communications Act of 1998, there were some shortfalls that were identified that necessitated the review of that act in 2016. One of the issues was the provision of communication services in rural and underserved areas in the country. If you go back and get a copy of the Communications Act of 1998, you will not find anything to do with universal service provision in the Communications Act of 1998. But in the Communications Act of 2016, there are provisions in that act talking about the Universal Services Fund. At that time, in 2016, or 2014, 2015, 2016, it was decided that we should include that provision in the Act to ensure that communication services we refer to in the Communications Act should also be available in rural and underserved areas of the country. So there's a fund that was established at Macra. The funds into the fund are contributions from the licensed operators. They are supposed to pay a levy, and a certain proportion of that levy is sent to that Universal Service Fund. The purpose is to ensure that we have communication services in rural and underserved areas. Currently, the major project that is being financed from the Universal Service Fund is the Connect a School project, where Macra, with support from various stakeholders, is establishing computer labs in community day secondary schools across the country. We have just started the implementation of that project, but in the next financial year, resources permitting, will continue until we have a computer lab at each and every community day secondary school in the country. Apart from the inclusion of the issue of the Universal Service Fund in the Communications Act of 2016, there's also another provision that was included in the Communications Act of 2016 that wasn't in the Communications Act of 1998. The issue about the National Addressing System. So we'll talk about the National Addressing System a bit later on. The second act that Macra looks after is the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act. This act was also enacted in 2016 by our dear members of Parliament. In that act, there's also a provision for the establishment of Malawi SET. Because of that act, we now have Malawi SET, a unit under Macra. That unit was established to look at issues about cybersecurity in Malawi. The Communications Act of 1998 was reviewed because there were some shortfalls, and we have the Communications Act of 2016. The Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act of 2016, it has also been observed that there are some shortfalls. Because of the identified shortfalls, stakeholders have been working to improve and come up with new laws from the current Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act of 2016. The Data Protection Law was already passed. It was a bill, and as it was passed by Parliament, it became a law. But that law originated from the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act of 2016. So from the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act of 2016, we have a whole law, the Data Protection Law. And we have several bills lined up for the next sitting of Parliament. Being bills coming from the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act of 2016. So we have 4 bills that will eventually become laws coming from the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity. The first bill is the Cyber Crimes Bill. The second is the Cybersecurity Bill. The third is the E-Evidence Bill. And the fourth is the Digital Innovations and Entrepreneurship Bill. So you can see we have 4 bills that will eventually become laws, and we have the Data Protection Law already coming from the cybersecurity, from Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Law of 2016. As we all know, the digital space is evolving. The law that was passed in 2016, people now in 2023, 2022, 2024, they have realized that there are several issues that we missed in the 2016 law. And in order to address those shortfalls, that's why we have come up with the 4 bills: the Cyber Crimes Bill, the Cybersecurity Bill, the E-Evidence Bill, and the Digital Innovations and Entrepreneurship Bill. And later on, another bill will also be developed from the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Law. And that bill will be the e-commerce bill, and eventually to become a law, the e-commerce law. All these, the data protection, the e-evidence, the digital innovation and entrepreneurship, the cyber crimes and cyber security, and eventually the e-commerce, are all coming from the current law that we have, the electronic transactions and cyber security law. So you can see people have realized that we need to come up with several laws in order to ensure that the digital space is regulated properly. Now, the Communications Act of 2016, as I have already said, they included provisions that weren't there in the Communications Act of 1998. And I already talked about the Universal Service Fund. But another provision that is included in the 2016 Communications Act is the provision on National Addressing System. Section 124 of the Communications Act of 2016 gives Macra the mandate to implement the National Addressing System. If you have a copy of the Communications Act of 2016, and if you go to section 124, it reads, the authority meaning Macra, the authority shall allocate, manage, and regulate addresses and post codes. That's the exact wording under section 124 of the Communications Act of 2016. The authority shall allocate, manage, and regulate addresses and post codes. The addresses being referred to under section 124 of the Communications Act are the physical addresses, not the post office addresses or any other type of addresses that you might know. They are referring to the physical addresses. So, the Communications Act of 2016 gives Macra the authority, the mandate, because shall is mandatory, the mandate to introduce National Addressing System in Malawi. It means before 2016, there was no law that allowed any agency of government to implement National Addressing System in the country. But after the 2016 Communications Act, then that power to implement National Addressing System was given to Macra. So after that law was passed in 2016, and knowing that that authority has been given to Macra, people at Macra sat to discuss on how they can implement the National Addressing System, looking at the mandate that they have been given by the Communications Act of 2016. And it dawned upon them at that time that they don't have, or they did not have, all the expertise that was required to implement the National Addressing System. So, a national workshop on National Addressing System was convened, and they invited various ministries, agencies, and departments of government to brainstorm on how they can implement the National Addressing System in Malawi. So a decision was made that the implementation of a National Addressing System should not be done by Macra alone, even though the law says Macra shall implement the National Addressing System. But because we required various expertise from various institutions, then it was decided that the National Addressing System should be a multi-stakeholder-driven national initiative. So National Addressing System is a multi-stakeholder-driven national initiative because we wanted expertise from various ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Why was it decided that we should have a national addressing system when you already had post office addresses and what we call the traditional way of addressing, where you give directions to each other? You want to go to Macra house, then you pass the mango tree, go past the mango tree, there's a church, you go past that church, you get to an Airtel agent, ask that Airtel agent, and that person will direct you to where Macra is. That's the traditional way of addressing. And there's another type of addressing, the post office addressing, where you can get your correspondences from the post office using a post office box number or a private bag number. But the country decided that we should have a national addressing system, despite having these two types of addresses. And because we did not have a comprehensive addressing system, it was decided that Macra should lead that process of developing the national addressing system. So the national addressing system is meant to develop a comprehensive addressing system for Malawi, so that every resident in Malawi should have a physical address. Every resident in Malawi should have a physical address. So we should move away from giving each other directions. We should move away from depending on the post office addresses, but we should have physical addresses for every resident in Malawi. So, Macra decided to start implementing the project in 2017. And we started with a pilot phase. But before we started the implementation of the national addressing system, we needed to discuss and agree on what are the prerequisites for us to have a physical address for every resident in Malawi. So people sat, discussed, and developed what is called a project charter. A project charter is a project document that guides the implementation of a national addressing system. And in that charter, there are various issues that are included in the document. One is on the prerequisites for the national addressing system. What do we require for us to have a physical address for every resident in Malawi? So there are 4 prerequisites. The first is that every road or street in Malawi should be identified and be given a name. That is the first prerequisite. All roads in Malawi should be identified and be given names. So who is responsible for the giving of the names or the naming of the streets? It is the community. So Macra, with a particular council, either a city council, a municipal council, or a district council, they facilitate, we, Macra and the councils, we facilitate the street naming exercise. But the actual naming of the streets is done by the communities, where that street or where that road is. So the first prerequisite is the identification of a road and the actual naming of that road. That's the first one. The second one is all houses must be numbered. So every property in Malawi will be numbered at the end of the day. That's the second prerequisite. The third prerequisite is all big buildings must have a name. So if you own a big building, make sure you give it a name. The person who owns a big building is the person who is responsible to give a name. If it is a government building, then it is the responsibility of that particular department of a government to give a name to that building. If it's a private building, then the owner of that building is responsible for the naming of that building. That's the third prerequisite. The fourth one is we need to develop digital maps for Malawi. So every location in Malawi should have its own digital map. So these are the prerequisites for us to have the physical addresses in the country. And in the project charter, it was also decided that we should have a governance structure on how we can implement the national addressing system in the country. So it was decided that despite Macra being given the mandate to implement the national addressing system, but we should have committees to run various tasks when we are implementing the national addressing system. So they came up with 6 committees to look at 6 components of the project. The first committee is called the Addressing Standards and Postcode Committee. Addressing Standards and Postcode Committee. This committee is responsible for the development of a new addressing style for Malawi and the development of the postcodes for the country. Before we started implementing the national addressing system, Malawi as a country, we had no postcodes. But now we have postcodes because of the national addressing system. The postcodes were developed and gazetted in April 2019. So every location in Malawi has its own unique postcode. What is a postcode? A postcode is an address for an area. So each area, each location in Malawi now has its own unique postcode. In the city councils, each township has its own unique postcode. In the district councils, each TA or sub-TA has its own unique postcode. So there's a committee, the Addressing Standards and Postcode Committee, that is responsible for the development of a new addressing style for Malawi and the development of the postcodes. On the new addressing standards or style for the country, that committee sat, developed a template on how the addressing style will be looking like for Malawi. Because we are moving away from using a PO box number to a physical address. What is a physical address? An address that will encompass a house number and a street name. So we needed to develop a new addressing style including a house number and a street name. So a new addressing style was developed, was sent to a United Nations agency on postal matters that is responsible for approving the addressing styles around the world. It was approved, a certificate was issued to Malawi, and as a country, we have a certification, what is called S42 certification. So, our addressing style are just like the addressing style in America, in Britain, in Australia, in Brazil, or any other country around the world. Because we have a certificate that was issued by the United Nations Agency on Postal Matters. It is called the Universal Postal Union, with its headquarters in Switzerland, Bern. That committee, that first committee, is chaired by Malawi Post Corporation. Remember, I said this is a multi-stakeholder-driven national initiative. So in the Addressing Standards and Postcode Committee, we have various MDAs sitting in that committee, looking at the issues that are supposed to be done by this committee. And that committee is chaired by Malawi Post Corporation, popularly known as Post Office. The second committee is the Physical Infrastructure Committee. Physical infrastructure are the house number plates or the road sign posts. Because if you name a road, then you need to install a road signage depicting the name of that road for people to know that this is Mombo Road. So there's a committee that is supposed to sit, design the physical infrastructure of the road sign posts and the house number plates, the sizes and whatever. There are various MDAs sitting in there, but that committee is chaired by Blantyre City Council. The third committee is the GIS Geographic Information System, and Database Committee. This committee is responsible for the digital maps, the physical verification, the digitization of land parcels. This committee is chaired by National Statistical Office and Department of Surveys under the Ministry of Lands. That's the third committee. The fourth committee is the Legal Committee. We all know that local councils fall under the Local Government Act. Macra is guided by the Communications Act. NSO is guided by their own act. And all other various MDAs that are taking part in this implementation of the national addressing system, they have their own laws. Because for us to implement the national addressing system, then we have to implement it in the councils. And because we have various laws for various MDAs, and for us to avoid the conflicts of various laws when we are implementing the national addressing system, then it was decided that we should have a legal committee looking at the various laws on how we can implement the national addressing system without breaking any other law of the country. So that committee is chaired by Malawi Housing Corporation. That's the fourth committee. The fifth committee is the Budget and Finance Committee to look at the resources for the implementation of the project. That committee is chaired by Macra. And the sixth committee is the Public Awareness and Sensitization to create awareness on the benefits of the national addressing system, on why we need the national addressing system, on the roles of various stakeholders in implementing the national addressing system. And that committee is also chaired by Macra. So above these committees, there's a technical committee that is also chaired by Macra. But there's also a national steering committee above the technical committee. The national steering committee, or before I go to the national steering committee, the technical committee is chaired by Macra, but is made up of the 6 chairpersons of the subcommittees that I mentioned. Above the technical committee, then there is the national steering committee. This committee is made up of principal secretary of various ministries involved in the implementation of the national addressing system and CEOs of various institutions. For example, the CEO of Planta City Council, CEO of Lilongwe City Council, CEO of Zuzu and all other city councils, National Registration Bureau, and other institutions. That's the governance structure. So all decisions that are made by these various committees are approved by the technical committee, taken up to the national steering committee for their appreciation on what is happening. That's the governance structure. So I've talked about the prerequisites and the governance structure of the national addressing system. Why did the government decide that we should have a national addressing system? It's the next question. Despite having the post office address and the traditional way of addresses. We all agree that you cannot use a post office address when you have an emergency at your home. If there is a fire incident at your home, you cannot use that post office address to invite the fire brigade to get to your home for you to be assisted. You cannot use the traditional way of addressing because it will take a long time for the fire brigade to get to your home. With the national addressing system, then the fire brigade will move quickly from their place of work to where the incident is taking place. Because all you need to do is you give them your house number, the street name, and the postcode number. If you give them your house number, street name, and the postcode number, the fire brigade will use the shortest way to where you are, and you'll be assisted quickly. If there's a robbery incident at your home at 1 a.m. and you want the police to come and help you, you cannot use the post office address for the police to come to your home. You cannot use the traditional way of addressing at 1 a.m. because that Airtel agent will not be there at 1 a.m. If you use the national addressing system by just giving the police your house number, the street name, and the postcode number, then the police will use the shortest way to your home, and you'll be assisted. If you require ambulance services, it's just like the same. Today, people are able to buy things online, e-commerce. You can sit in your home, you buy things on Amazon, on eBay, on Jumia, and other e-commerce platforms. You pay while you are at home. But those goods that you have purchased have to be delivered at the doorstep. So for any courier, any licensed courier operator to deliver whatever you have procured online, then they need the national addressing system. The national addressing system will help a registered courier operator to deliver whatever you have bought online at your doorstep. Because we use their house number, a street name, and the postcode. When you are buying, you indicate your house number, the street name, and the postcode. That e-commerce platform, they will link you to a particular registered courier operator, and that operator will be able to deliver at your doorstep. That's the second point. The third point is on identification. Mostly, I'm sure, and I'm 100% sure, that most of us, we have bank accounts. When you go to open a bank account, you are mostly asked to draw a sketch map. Or when we are updating our details at the bank, we are asked to draw a sketch map. You are asked to draw a sketch map because you don't have a physical address, or you are not using a physical address. If you have a physical address, a house number, a street name, and a postcode, then there will be no need for you to draw a sketch map. So banks will no longer be requiring you to draw a sketch map once you know your physical address. If you have built a house and you want to get electricity connected to your house or water supply connected to your house, you go to ESCOM or to water board, you apply. When you're applying, you are asked to draw a sketch map on the application form. It is the very same reason, because you don't know your physical address. Once you know your physical address, you just be indicating your house number, street name, and the postcode. When they are coming to connect electricity to your house or water to your house, they call you. You drew a sketch map on the application form. They have that sketch map. But when they are coming, even using that sketch map, they cannot locate, and they have to call you. Then you say, I'm standing here, I'm wearing a white golf shirt, can you see me? We are doing all that because we are not using the national addressing system. Once we are used to the national addressing system of house number, a street name, and a physical address, then there will be no need for you to stand somewhere to be waving to the water board guys or the ESCOM guys that you are standing somewhere. The national addressing system also promotes tourism. Why? Imagine a situation where we have a tourist coming from Spain, where they speak Portuguese. or Latin from Italy. He flies in through Kia. He or she doesn't speak English. Obviously, then he or she doesn't know our local languages. But this person wants to travel to Capital Hotel. If we don't use the national addressing system, then there will be a problem. If that person knows where he is going, if Capital Hotel is using the national addressing system, they'll have a house number, the street name, and the postcode. That person who was booking accommodation at Capital Hotel will know the physical address of Capital Hotel. So at Kia, to a taxi driver, he will just say, I'm going to 9 Samina Amua Road, and then they will indicate the postcode number, 312225. Then the taxi driver will be able to take that tourist to Capital Hotel. Those are some of the benefits of the national addressing system. So we started implementing the national addressing system in 2017. And we started with a pilot phase in Blantyre, because at that time Macra was in Blantyre. And we started with Damiwawa, representing all low-density areas in the country. Chinyonga, representing all medium-density areas in Malawi. Makata industrial area, representing all industrial areas in Malawi. Ndirande, part of Ndirande Safarao, representing all informal settlements or high-density areas in Malawi. And we also went to 3 villages in Lilongwe, Somola, Mangasanja, and Somba villages, to see how we can implement the national addressing system in a rural setup. So we did the pilot phase in 2017. We learned lessons on how we can implement the national addressing system, on how we can name roads, on how we can number the properties, on how big buildings will be named, on how we can develop the digital maps. Remember the 4 prerequisites. So we started with a pilot phase. After lessons were learned, then we started a phased national rollout. Phased national rollout. We have been implementing national addressing system in Blantyre. Several areas in Blantyre have national addresses, physical addresses. Several areas in Lilongwe City, in Nzuzu City, and in Zomba City have physical addresses. But you might say, but we don't see that we have physical addresses. Yes, we agree. Why? Because we are yet to install the road signposts in the townships in Blantyre, in townships in Lilongwe, in townships in Zomba, and in townships in Nzuzu. And we are also yet to erect the house number plates in these townships, in the 4 cities of the country. The houses were numbered, the streets were named, but we are yet to procure appropriate infrastructure to place on the houses and on the roads. So from the 4 city councils, we have also implementing national addressing system in the northern region. If you go to any district commissioner in the north, in Chitipa, in Karonga, in Rumpi, in Nkadabe, in Nzimba, Olikoma, and Chizumuru, they will tell you that we have been working with them to implement the national addressing system. We started with the Boma area, where the DC's offices are and all other government institutions are. That's where we started implementing the national addressing system in all the 6 councils in the northern region. In the central region, we are in Dedza, in Nchinji, in Salima, in Lilongwe Rural also, and in Kasungu Municipal Council. If you go to these areas, they will confirm. In the southern region, we are in Balaka, in Chiradzulu, in Mangochi Municipal Council, in Luchenza Municipal Council and Blantyre Rural around Lunzu area. If you go to Lunzu, they will tell you that they were involved in street naming, they were involved in house numbering and other processes. That's where we have been in national addressing, where we are currently implementing the national addressing system. In the current financial year, when we finish all the districts in the central region and also all the districts in the southern region, because we have finished all the districts in the northern region, around the Boma areas. We have been working with Google to ensure that all the street maps that they have are updated. They have street maps for Malawi, but that information is outdated. Now, because of the national addressing system, once we develop the shape files for the street names for Malawi, for a particular area, then we send those maps to Google. If you visit the Google, if you Google Chitipa on street naming, on street maps, all the roads around Chitipa Boma, you will see them on Google. Rumpi Boma, Katabe Boma, Nzimba Boma, all the Boma areas in the north and Boma areas in the central region, you will see the street names there. It is a product of the national addressing system. They are now uploading maps for the 4 city councils and districts in the southern region. And we'll continue that, that process until all the roads in Malawi are uploaded on Google. As I have already said, community members have a responsibility in street naming. So you all people, you have a responsibility in street naming in your areas where you stay. The councils have a responsibility in physical infrastructure placement and house numbering. And Macra is a project secretariat. That's how far we have gone with the national addressing system. To finish my presentation, I would say that we urge you to be our ambassadors in the implementation of the national addressing system. Why am I saying so? When we erected the physical infrastructure around Makata Industrial Area in 2017, we were using the galvanized street poles. We erected today, the following morning they were removed, stolen, in other ways. The next day they were stolen. We involved the police, and fortunately for us, we found our poles in Indilande Market. Then we moved from the galvanized street poles to the plastic poles. A perforated plastic pole with sand, quarry, and cement inside. We went back to Makata Industrial Area. We placed the road signage in Makata Industrial Area. After a few months, they were removed. But we know people from, I've heard you several times saying you stay around in Ndilande area. we know people from Ndilande. They also removed the plastic poles. Then we resorted to the concrete sign posts. Currently we're using the concrete road signs, just to run away from vandalism. That's one of the problems we are encountering in implementing the national addressing system, vandalism. The second challenge we are facing is the absence of the digital maps. We don't have digital maps in most of the areas in Malawi. So we have to do the satellite imagery, have satellite drawings and do maps. It's because we have expertise from National Statistical Office and Department of Service, then at least we are able to come up with digital maps for several areas. But we'll shortly engage a partner to help us in mapping the whole country so that we can have the updated digital map for Malawi. That's the second challenge. The third challenge is on financing. As I have already said, Macra is chairing the Budget and Finance Committee of the National Addressing System. So as of now, it is the sole financier of the National Addressing System. This Budget and Finance Committee, in their meetings, when we were starting implementing the National Addressing System, they estimated that for us to implement the National Addressing System from Nsanje to Chitipa, for every resident in Malawi to have a physical address, then we will require 25 million United States dollars. So for Macra to raise 25 million United States dollars is a big challenge. However, we'll be working with our partners, what we call restricted unions, the Universal Postal Union, because Malawi is an affiliate of the Universal Postal Union, to help us in providing technical or financial support so that we can quickly and efficiently implement the National Addressing System. We will also try to engage the Ministry of Finance to ensure that there is a budget allocation for the implementation of the National Addressing System going forward. That is the presentation that I had for today. If there are any questions or comments, then I'll refer you back to Wanda to facilitate the Q&A session. But for now, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together one more time for Mr. Namacha, the acting Director for Postal Services at the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority. He was just highlighting the two areas I think that has seen a lot of significant improvement in terms of progress. So we were talking about the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act of 2016, which is given birth to about 4 bills that are going to be looked into shortly. The Cybercrime Bill, Cybersecurity Bill, the E-Evidence Bill, and the Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Bill. And later on, we also look at the E-Commerce Bill. But also, he also spoke about the National Addressing System. And like he's ably said, I think we've been all over the place in terms of addresses. I was involved in a committee where we are supposed to name our street. Just for us to come up with a name, it was a nightmare. You know, we argued because some wanted us to be called the Lions, others were saying, no, you're being too aggressive, let's be named Kalulu, and others said, no Kalulu. So, I mean, these are issues, real issues that probably some of us were going to face as we sit down in those community that we live in to come up with a name. But it's important that we must have proper physical addresses so that we move with the rest of the world. Of course, Mr. Namacha insinuated that I could be one of the people removing the signs because of my allegiance to Ndirande. Yes, I come from Ndirande, but I assure you, the Ndirande you used to know then is not the Ndirande that we are now. Just as Macra started doing these open sessions, Ndirande is also a very good place. I will invite you to come so we can have a chat here in Ndirande. So this then means, yes, I've started seeing hands going up, but probably before we get to that, guest of honor, temporarily I think moved out, but I'm sure he's still with us, and board chair, madam, I will ask us to turn our chairs so that we face the rest of us as we're now going to engage each other in the Q&A. So what is going to happen with the Q&A, you're going to tell us your name, the institution that you represent, and your question in brief, please, so that we get the question clearly. And these questions can be directed to the Ministry of Information, represented by secretary can be directed at the board, chaired by Mrs. Chibwana, and the secretariat that is going to be represented by the acting director of postal services, Mr. Namacha, and the rest of the team are here. Like I said earlier on, the other specific questions to specific units. That's why we have the team that are sitting in this room throughout the day up to around 4 p.m. So, if you have a question, you signify that by lifting your hand. Yes, I have taken note of you, sir. I'll give you the floor just now. I just wanted the officials to sit before we can start taking the questions. So just hang on, sir. Just a bit. Okay, so here we go. Yes, sir. I have identified you. You tell us your name, your institution, and your question.
My name is Charles Chikapa. I'm a broadcasting media consultant. But my question is going to the presenter of the National Addressing System. Before I proceed, I just want to give an experience. Here in Lilongwe, I went to one of the big institutions. A colleague in Blantyre wanted to buy a tender. So I gave a physical address to this procurement officer, a senior person. He said, no, can you give us a postal address? I said, no. The way to go now is physical address. This is the physical address, blah, 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 Mandala. I said, no, Mugabida, your post office, 5 years, Sanchitu. And this is a senior procurement officer for a big organization in Lilongwe. So that drives me to the next point, to say, I would do, it's a suggestion now, I think the awareness, we need to do a little bit more so that people really understand what this exercise is all about. I would also suggest that the chair or vice chair of the awareness committee should go to the Ministry of Information. Since you have mentioned that the district councils in the country are also implementing the same, the Ministry of Information has got district information officers all over. I think this can also play an important role in sensitizing people about this initiative. We also have community radios spread all over the country. I don't think they are fully utilized to send these messages. So I would also urge the chair of the awareness committee to take into consideration the use of these community radio stations in sensitizing people about this important presentation that you have made. And then again, you've talked about finances. I know that the World Bank is currently implementing a $100 million project supporting governance issues in all the districts in the country. I would also ask the technical committee also to look at it whether a certain component can also be included in this project to implement this address system that you have just talked about. So those are my contributions, but otherwise, thank you so much, my fellow colleague from Dera and Safarao. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chikapa. There is a gentleman next to you. If you may please pass the microphone to him. So, sir, your name, your institution, and your question in brief. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Richard Galea from Chisi Youth FM.
If you may speak up, sir, or those that are manning the microphones, please help us with the volume so we can hear him clearly. Thank you. Proceed, sir.
All right. I think you can hear me now. Yeah. I wanted to find out, the presenters talked about starting as a pilot project in Blantyre. So I wanted to find out when this will be rolled out to other regions and districts. Secondly, he also talked about coming up with the street names. I wanted to know who is going to be naming those streets. Is it the community itself? Is it the district council or Macra? So I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. There is another hand up here, right here where the camera is. It's a gentleman in a black shirt. Your name, your institution, your question.
My name is Michael Namalomba from Radio Bembeke FM. Perhaps my question is just going to amplify what the previous guy has just asked. You have talked about the many millions in US dollars which are required to make sure that every one of us has a street address and house address. But you have also hinted that you are piloting the project in Blantyre, Dedza, and other districts. Are we going to wait for Macra to resource these funds before Malawi is fully street addressed? Or are you going to implement the project bits by bits until we get to where we want to? Thank you.
Thank you, Banana Malomba. There's another hand up from a gentleman wearing a multi-choice shirt. Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, Dalit Sanseola. I'm with Malawi School of Government. The issue on vandalism of the signage, it's really terrible in this country, and it seems we are losing on it. We are losing the war when it comes to vandalism of signs. Are we just going to give up? Because when you look at our road signs, every time you put it up, right here in the city, if you are to move, go to the interchange, we don't have the signs that were put there. And I'm just wondering, are we going to keep on trying to put them up when we actually know they're going to be removed? What's the way forward on this?
Mr. Nseola, if I may, I know that question maybe is not going to any of the people sitting in front here. What are your suggestions? What do you think we should do? Because there are times whereby we as the citizens must come up with solutions. We are the ones that are removing. What do you think we should do? It's back to you, sir.
Well, I come from an academic institution, and I think there's a lot of ways on how we can deal with that. I think our security, our police, MDF, communities, it starts with us being patriotic. But I still wanted to find out from Macra to say, are they going to give up on this initiative, or are they just going to say, you know, let's keep on putting them up. If they get vandalized, it's okay. Which way forward?
All right, sir. Noted. Thank you very much, Mr. Nseola, for your question. I see there's another hand up here, and then I also identified the gentleman sitting over there. Yes, sir. Your name, your institution, and your question.
I'm Hare Gombachika from MTL. I think my first part will be to echo the experience that Wanda had with the authority. We have been in that boardroom several times. And I remember one particular time when we were reminded that we are talking to the authority. And that cut all the discussions. Maybe we need to change. Instead of the authority, it can be the commission of the service. So it can be Malawi Communications Regulatory Services, so that they should know that it's a service, not an authority. That's just, don't take it seriously. But it has been tough. I think they have changed, even with the name authority. Now they call us, come, let's reason together. And through that, MTL is one of those that has benefited from these negotiations, finding practical solutions to a local problem and with some context. I think we should applaud that. Having said that, my next area is in the pieces of legislations that are coming after the Communications Act. The first part of it is that Macra indeed takes us through consultation process. But one of the challenges that sometimes we face is that when the conflicts, or when there's a conflict between the interests of the authority and the interests of the operators, who can broker that? we have seen that normally Macra will still proceed with their side of the story, and we see this in the act. An example is the electronic monitoring provision. When we were consulting, operators were against that. We used to call it spy machine. We named spy machine. Of course, it has a nice name now. It's electronic monitoring system. But the operators didn't want that one. Macra insisted. And at the end of the day, they managed to lobby with Parliament, and we found it in the Act. We just gave up. The authority has set up. So my question is that since Macra finances everything, it seems it has the upper hand in these consultations. In the same line, we are having now closer to 5 additional pieces of legislations that will be coming in. With that comes compliance. I can assure you, for the operators to comply, you need to read each and every month. You need to check which piece of, which section are we complying. In short, it adds overheads. And it's not only on Macra side. You find out that MEPA is coming to us, another authority is coming to us, so you find out that we have a lot of compliance costs. Now, the operator's job is not to comply. As far as I'm concerned, my job is not to comply. I have a job to do. But we find that most of the times, we are going through these pieces of legislation to try to figure out compliance issues. How can we simplify these things so that maybe I've got just one, and on a piece of paper, page, I'm able to comply, other than having 10 pieces of legislations that I need to comply. Those ones were my 3 areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bwana Hari. There was a hand there from a gentleman, yes, in a waistcoat.
Yeah.
Your name, sir, your institution, and your question.
All right. Innocent Mpongolo from Mlimi Radio. I want to talk on the naming of streets. If I got you right, you're indicating that the first building in a street, the owners of that particular building, the first building in a particular street, are the ones that maybe will have that right to name, or else the community will sit and discuss on a name that will be given to a particular street. Of interest, I think we have some communities that are filled with Malawians of other origins. For example, Area 9, you go to Mpingu in Blantyre, where most of the people around there are Asians. Do you consider maybe things like culture or what? If they name the street to something, to names from India, names from elsewhere, Pakistan, what, and they give a different meaning altogether, do you have time to look at the names that have been given and give it an approval? Else, the names that feel that maybe they can name, you're comfortable with it. I'm talking about this considering an incident where we, some time back, Blantyre City, they were trying to erect Mahatma Gandhi statue. It caused an uproar. People were, no, we can't have this in Malawi because he's a symbol of this and that. I don't know, do you consider that when you're approving names? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mpongoro. I think that's the first round of questions. And I will first ask the acting Director of Postal Services to start. And I think then if there are others that would want to add, then I think we'll take those responses as well. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Wanda. Thank you, Wanda. The first was a comment that we should involve community radios and the Ministry of Information. The Ministry of Information sits in the Public Awareness and Sensitization Committee, but we also make sure that, as per your suggestion, we also make sure that we involve them more because they have district information officers, as you have said. We have a whole committee that is responsible for creating awareness, and the chairperson of that committee is the communications manager for Macra. He's in here. I also hope he has taken note of your comments. On the involvement of community radios, when we first developed and gazetted the postcodes for Malawi in 2019, we went around the country and mostly we utilized the community radios, informing the public on the issue of postcodes and how they can access their postcodes and how they can use their postcodes. So we used the community radios, and we'll continue using the community radios apart from the national radios that we have. On funding, currently it is Macra, but we are exploring several ways. At one point, the Millennium Challenge, whether they call it Account or Challenge Corporation, but we met them on this particular project and we discussed, and we are hoping that going forward we are going to have a partner to help us in financing the implementation of a national addressing system. It cannot be the Millennium Challenge because we are trying to source funding from various partners, and the chairperson of the Budget and Finance Committee is the person sitting next to me. They know and they have lined up several activities that they can do to ensure that we get some funding to help us in implementing the national addressing system. In the project charter that I was referring to when I was making my presentation, we estimated that we should have physical addresses for every resident in Malawi, meaning we should have national addressing system in every corner of the country by 2030. But by 2025, we'll be in each and every district council in Malawi. But by 2030, we should be at every corner of the country, ensuring that every resident in the country has a physical address. That's the plan in the project charter. On pilot, yes, we started with Blantyre as a pilot phase, but if you listen to me, I said we started with some areas in Blantyre, Chinyonga, Namiwawa, Makata Industrial Area, and Indira and Safarao, and also some villages in Lilongwe. Thereafter, when we started the phased national rollout, it's no longer a pilot. It is national rollout, but in a phased manner because of the issue of manpower and funding. The other expertise that we are utilizing are employees of other government institutions. They are not full-time taking part in the implementation. They have to do their work at their office and secure some time for national addressing system. That's why we decided that it should be a phased national rollout. But the plan is by 2030, everyone should have a physical address from Nsanje to Chitipa. On the responsibility of street naming, we said Macra, in conjunction with the city, district, or municipal council, we only facilitate the street naming exercise. But the responsibility to name a street is for the community where that road is. So we facilitate that meeting, they sit, we provide guidance on whether they can use certain themes, the names of birds, names of roads, names of rivers or mountains or whatever. So they can decide. Or they can say, okay, we'll adopt the names of birds, and they'll be naming their roads based on the name of the birds. So it is the community that is responsible for the naming. Once they name those roads, the names are submitted to that particular council. And it is a full council meeting that is supposed to look at the names of a particular locality and approve or disapprove. So I'm responding to a question on names from Asia and whatever. The names that come from a particular area are submitted to that particular district, municipal, or city council. At a full council meeting, those names are supposed to be approved. So it is up to the councillors and MPs in that particular council to approve the names of roads in a particular locality. We said we want to finalize by 2030, but by 2025 we'll be in all the districts in Malawi. We are not waiting for funding. With the little that we have, we'll continue implementing the national addressing system. That's why in my presentation I also said we'll engage the Ministry of Finance through Treasury to ensure that probably national addressing system is included in the public sector investment program, PSIP, so that we can get funding going forward on the implementation of the national addressing system, apart from looking at sponsors from outside the government system. On vandalism, we won't give up. If you listen to me, I said we first started with the galvanized street posts. When they were vandalized, we moved to the plastic posts. They were vandalized, then we moved to concrete. Because there is a whole committee that is responsible for signposts, the house number plates and the road signposts. So it is this committee that looks at whether we can continue with a particular design, looking at what we are meeting on the ground. Do we need to redesign? Is it the size? Are these signs prone to vandalism? Can we redesign and come? That's why we are currently using concrete signposts, because the first two, the metal poles and the plastic poles were vandalized. But we'll continue to name the roads and place the street road signposts across the country. And for your own information, we have developed what we are calling bylaws with the city councils and the municipal councils through the Ministry of Local Government. And in the bylaws, it is the responsibility of that particular council to ensure that road signs are placed along all the roads in that particular council. On street naming versus building name, I think I have explained on the process of street naming. The community comes up with a name, they submit to a council, and the full council meeting has to look at the names and whether approve or disapprove the names. On the building name, if it is a private building, it is the owner of that property to give a name to that. If it is a government building, then we know it is government, either through that particular department or through OPC to give a name to that particular building. On digital laws, I think Dan will give responses to digital laws. Thank you. I hope I have covered all the issues on national addressing that were asked. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Director of Postal. I would like to comment on several issues that have come on the floor. First of all, maybe I would like to provide a comment, I think, on the sentiments from Wanda and also Dr. Gombachika. In terms of the chats that Macra has had with our operators, I've been involved in some of these chats in courts, and in some cases they have been very heated indeed. But what I would like to say that I think from both sides of the aisle, we have all evolved. Macra has evolved, I think, for the better, and also the operators have also evolved for the better. We had concerns in the past in terms of the sanity in the broadcasting sector. As we have seen, I think, tremendous improvement, I think, in the past 3 years. And I think we can all agree in terms of how our broadcasters are conducting, and also in terms of our other operators as well, how they are performing their business and compliance issues. I think they have also improved a lot. So I think we have seen some shifting in terms of how we do our business from Macra as well as also from the operator. So I think it's a positive development in that regard. Coming to the digital bills that we are developing and the consultation process, I think the concern from Dr. Gombachika is that Macra's will in courts seems to prevail all the time. if that was the concern. So we'll start by saying that Macra, as a regulator, we've got several constituents that we are serving. The operators, they've got their own particular interests, and the consumers and the general public also has or have their own interests that we have to save and protect. Now, when we are coming up with legislative measures, what we are trying to do is to provide a balancing act between the sometimes competing interests of the operators, as well as those of the general public and the consumers. So when we insist on a particular position, we have got a particular legislative or regulatory objective that we're trying to promote. And in the case of maybe electronic monitoring, we're looking at protecting the consumer in terms of the services that are being provided by the operators. So what we're trying to do in all these consultations that we do, because we try to have very extensive consultations, hearing from all sorts of voices on particular issues. And at the end of the day, the final product that we'll have is we aim at having it reflective of all the views that we have received from the general public. So sometimes your views may not convince us, but that doesn't mean that we haven't taken them into account. It's just that we have got at that particular point a competing interest which we have weighed to be higher in this particular case, that I think we have to save this higher objective than maybe the narrow interest of a particular sector of the economy. So we do try to have a balancing act and try to balance the competing interests of the operators as well as the general public and the consumers. And I would also say that in terms of the digital bills, Macra is not the final arbiter in this case, because they will still have to go to Parliament. The MPs who deliberate on these bills, they will hear from various sectors from the economy, from the public, and then they will provide or enact a final legislation. I think that is reflective of our views, our goals and policies as Malawi. Coming to the issue of compliance costs, yes, I think that's a legitimate concern. But I would say that is something that we cannot run away from. This is a regulated sector. But as an authority, what we're trying to do is to provide a framework that is easy to comply, and also at the same time trying to minimize your regulatory costs as operators, because we all benefit if you do well. Thank you so much.
Maybe just to add on what Dan has echoed, we are living in a global world, a global village as the world today. If a Malawian is on internet today, the implications will be the very same thing that somebody else from USA will have when they are on internet. They will be within the same space. So even though the world is becoming smaller and smaller, being global, there are complex issues that are coming with that. And Malawi as a nation, we are a member of some of the international bodies. Like Malawi, we are a member of ITU, International Telecommunications Union. So whatever is agreed at that level, that countries should have these laws, then Malawi is obliged to have that. We are in the digital space right now. This is the space that we've never been before in the past. It's just coming out right now. It's caught us by surprise. But definitely, now we are realizing that no, we need rules, we need regulations. We can't just leave everybody else to operate in that space. If we leave the space without being regulated, then there are hazardous consequences that are happening. Just to give an example, there is a lot of misinformation that is right there within that digital space. We are issues of AI that is coming in. Definitely, the academic world is being affected with that. How do they get to know? How do they regulate that? Because right now, you find students, they are just on ChatGPT. ChatGPT, can you write me an essay on this? And it's so hard for those in the BBC era to say, okay, is this original? Is this what? We need some regulations on that. On top of that, we are getting into the metaverse as well. How are we going to operate within the metaverse, within Malawi? Because it's going to affect us. The way it's affecting USA, it's going to affect us. That's why, as a global world, we are also coming up with these universal laws and rules. That's why even after the laws are formulated in Malawi, they are also sent to the international just to check, are they within the standards of the international standards? Is this the way to go? So it's very, very critical. We, even though it can be cumbersome, a lot of laws, we are in a complex world, and the solutions to the complex problems, it needs collaboration. It needs us to come together. It needs us to work together to the complex situations, which require all of us to work together and understand, and knowing that, yes, it's a lot of complexity, but we need to move forward. Because if we don't move forward as Malawi, the way it is, how are we going to get into the e-commerce, the digital space, when we have cyber crimes, when the mobile money are just going? We need to create an environment whereby we can flourish on the digital space. But we cannot flourish on the digital space if we do not have the framework of rules and regulations on how to operate within that, that framework, that space that is in our midst. The unfortunate part is that we cannot run away from it. We cannot say, no, let's go back. We are moving forward. AI is here, the metaverse is here. We need to work ahead. Unfortunately, the other thing is that the digital space, the communication sector, probably is one of the fastest growing sector in the world. 2010, we do not have these other fora that we are using right now. There was no ChatGPT, there was no Meta AI. We didn't have those things. Right now they are here. How do we regulate those? We need to stay ahead of the curve. We need to come up with these laws. And I'm sure by the time these laws will be approved, we'll also have some other things that will feel like these ones are also outdated. But we can't stop. Let's do the right things. The laws are needed. We need to regulate for us to create a safe and better space for everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Do we have more responses, or that's it? Maybe we can take the next phase. Yes, I see Director Minyani wants to add something.
Yes, I think just to add a little bit, because the issue that Bwana Gombachika raised is quite serious, in that a bill, I mean a law that is already there, gives birth to probably 5-6 more laws, and then does that require them to be expanding HR every day? But you see that just as you raised your concern, you touched on the so-called spy machine, which I know practically is very impossible for anyone to listen in to calls made between two parties, because the GSM platforms that we use are not local. They are provided by very reputable international firms, and Malawi as a market is too small that they would risk that as a government we dip into and listen to you, because they would destroy a market that is greater elsewhere. Probably the money they make here is of no significance at all to the investment they have put in. But that is aside, it's for another day. But just as you raised that, already you have raised an issue of privacy and data concern, data protection. So it definitely, in the law that exists, that was revised in 2016, not adequately addressed, and therefore must have, you know, a comprehensive law that protects you, that as you carry your cell phone around, whatever gadgets that you are using, you are very sure that you are very safe. You can make a phone call to anybody else without having to look on your back. There are issues of national security, cyber security, as Director Kawali had said here. A quick probably reflection would be, think of the immigration, problems that we have now. Would they be a victim of this? The other day, ESCOM just shut down. It went blackout. There's quite a number of podiums that we stand on and every day we use that can easily be attacked, and that would also probably affect national security, and then therefore there's data, the cyber security and national security issues that definitely are not, in the 2016 law, that is the Communications Act of 2016, and therefore they would need to be addressed. The changing business model. Right now, as we sit here, probably one of us has already advertised that they are taking orders for something. So their cell phone is a shop, is a business place for itself. They have probably already traded a number of things. They have received money through the same phone over the Airtel money and all that. And all those things need to be regulated as a space. And therefore, that's why you find that there is all these new babies that are being born as new bills. Is a response to exactly what, is emerging every other minute and every other hour as we sit. When you see us sitting here, from my chair on the right, the secretary to the information, the immediate right, and the other directors, management, we also are subject to these laws because we are here now speaking as an authority. The moment I go out of that space, I will start making phone calls for other things that I need privacy, I need protection, and therefore be assured that the law that is legislated in this country is not Macra legislating against anybody, but we just have that fiduciary duty and function that we must preside over when these things are being put together, which we also are subject to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. Any more responses, or we can take the second round of questions? Okay, so maybe we'll take the second round of questions, but maybe just to add on, particularly to Bwana Seula, about us not vandalizing. I think a simple concept, like if it's not yours, don't take it, simple as it may. Maybe too late for most of us because we've already taken things that are not ours before. But for the younger ones, I think it's something powerful that we continue to teach them, that anything that is not yours, don't take it. So that, I think we grow up as a nation that knows that there are some things that are not mine. I just can't take them home. Thank you. I just needed to add that. Yes, can we have the second round of questions? Yes, I see a hand. Yes, sir. Sorry. Guest of honor.
I would like to comment on the comment or the question that Dr. Gombachika raised, and which also Director Menyani has responded to in terms of a pile of laws. One law, like binary fission, I remember my secondary school science, where it gives birth to other, laws. I understand that sometimes there is a temptation, especially when there is progress in society, to go ahead of managing risks that may arise, or current or potential ones. And one way of doing that is to come up with regulations or laws to manage those risks, abuse, and so on and so forth. And it's an important point. But I just wanted to mention that from the ministry's perspective, because the ministry takes lead in formulation of bills and provides guidance, tables them to cabinet. One of the executive decisions that has to be made now and again is to ensure periodical review of laws and existing laws. So, for example, I know by the 5 years, 10 years, we'll have a number of them laws. And these reviews, usually one of the objectives is to identify redundancies, inconsistencies, but also outdated provisions. It also offers an opportunity to collapse them into maybe one usable law, and also to lessen the burden on compliance. I agree with you that the many the laws, the more the overhead costs, because the implementation and compliance of laws also has cost implications. So I totally agree with you. But the government is aware about that, and this is why periodic review is very, very important. But also, there is another risk-based approach to managing issues of number of laws. And perhaps what we are doing now is one of them, where you do not enforce laws rigidly, you know, and every detail, but you focus on the outcomes and the priorities which have higher risk. So I'm sure the ministry, along with Macra, will be working together to make sure that the enforcement does not focus on, you know, paying attention to nuances, but rather to say, what really do we want to achieve out of these laws? I think that's what is most important, the results. And also sometimes you have what we call simplicity and structure, where you have abridged versions of the laws in terms of accessibility now. The language used, I know Dan and the team would always want to prove us that they are learned people, and they would put in the laws the language that confuses all of us, and then we run to them now and again to ask, what does this mean, what does this mean? But where we are going, you know, we have to make, we have access to information. Access to information include access to laws. You know, even data management also imply that it has to be accessible in formats, in language that people can easily understand. So that can also lessen the burden. And finally, maybe I would say that this one I might have already pointed out. Instead of micromanaging every aspect, you emphasize on the principles. So you have, for example, communications laws that have to do with the communications. You bring together all the principles that are required, you know, instead of micromanaging each one of them in terms of, these are approaches to management now in terms of legal management. Dan may not be nodding and smiling, but I'm sure I'm trying to really respond to Dr. Gombachika. And thank you, Dr. Gombachika, you are smiling, meaning this is okay. So I just wanted to add to say, let's not be, the point is, let's not be afraid. The point is made, but there are mechanisms that the ministry will also, together with Macra, put in place to make sure that we do not belabor you. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary, to the information. Yes, we're going to take the second round of questions. I see hands up. There was a hand from that gentleman there. If you're helping me with the microphones, please. Yes, here, put your hand up, sir. Okay, yeah, we can start from there. Your name and your institution. Question in brief.
My name is Manyanda Nyasulu from Kasupe Radio. Right now, if we take a close look at the communication sector, we see new technologies being introduced, new innovations as well being launched on the market, and it is my belief as well that Malawians should be able to experience good quality services, and in this case I want to speak on the broadcasting space. We would love Macra and the ministry to help us to lobby for the removal of duty especially on the importation of broadcasting equipment for radio and television. Right now, I think most of my colleagues can attest to this. If we want to buy a 1,000 watt transmitter right now, which is durable, it would cost us £7,000. And that already, plus duty and plus the logistics, it would take us to up to 30 million kwacha for one transmitter. So for someone who is a new entrant who wants to come in, I think that would be a big cost for them. But also for those players that are already in the industry that would want to grow, to reach out to more other areas, it would also be it would be a tall order to buy one transmitter at 30 million. So if you want to roll out 5 sites, that's a lot of money for someone who is in the industry and looking at the way that the industry is performing at the same time. So we would like to ask Macra and the ministry, maybe they could lobby to have a window of 1 year where we could be able to buy the transmission equipment, the broadcasting equipment without duty. Because at the moment, I think it's very difficult for most of the players. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nyasuru, for your question. I see another hand up, a gentleman over here wearing a white golf shirt. Your name, your institution, and your question. There are 2 more hands that have, yes, have.
My name is Louis Sambo. My institution is Malawi School of Government. My first question is, does Macra plan to utilize the people in rural areas to help build or set up the telecoms as a way to reduce unemployment? And if so, do you plan on providing training programs? My second question is, when entering rural areas, do you conduct learning programs to those that are in villages so that they know how to access the internet more, how to use phones, and how to let them know that they're not being scammed?
Thank you, Mr. Sambo. Yes, can we move the microphone at the back? There's a gentleman wearing a tie and a jacket.
My name is Patrick Achere, representing Umuntu FM. I just wanted to find out on issues to do with annual revenue that broadcasters pay to Macra. My question is emphasizing on the current situation regarding to the kwacha and the dollar itself. Are there any considerations that have been put in place to eliminate 1% that is there for broadcasters to pay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jere.
Kajere, that is Kajere.
Kajere, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yes, there is a hand here in front, and there is another one there as well. Yes, I've recognized you, sir, as well. Yeah. Your name, your institution, and your question in brief.
My name is Richard Muntali, coming from Channel 4 Nations. My question is on TV broadcasting. Apart from that, there's other question as well. On the TV broadcasting, it's such an expensive industry just to produce even just a program. For us to appear on the MDBNL, we are supposed to pay a fee which is quite substantial amount. I just wanted to find out if at all it could be possible for Macra to come in whether it's subsidizing or some kind of on this MDBNL fee is quite high for some of our institutions. On the same, MDBNL previously had it's a head end, both here in Lilongwe and another which is currently in Branta. Are there any ways or any possible means that you could probably assist MDBNL to restore the one that was gutted here in Lilongwe? Because for us to send our signal to Branta is also quite a high cost. We're just wondering if there could be that possibility. The other question is on our tower sites, the access roads. Is there any way that Macra can come in to help us on the access roads to the tower sites? Right now it will be okay right in these dry seasons, but when it comes to rainy seasons, it tends to be hectic. I would say like Mpingu is now better, but when you talk of Zomba and some other sites, it's quite hectic to get there. Is there a way that Macra can come in to help us in constructing or making the access roads possible to those sites? And lastly, on the cyber security. Yes, there is an issue which is also becoming a very complicated one way or the other. There was this mention of a spy machine. Of course, it's not a spy machine as we say. I wanted to find out, is there any possibility or anything in line that you are thinking of when it comes to tracking the equipment that one would use to send, whether it's fake news or any defamatory kind of video clips? Is there any equipment that maybe you are considering to incorporate or to have that can assist probably our security officers or our police to easily track the equipment that has been used to send whether defamatory message or any kind of clips? Thank you.
Thank you, Abu Samundhali. We have another question there. I hope it's the last question for this round. A gentleman in black. Your name, sir, your institution, and your question.
Thank you so much. My name is Dennis Imani, and I'm from the Lilongwe City Green Guardians. My question is basically in regards to the mapping system, the national address system. It was quite clear on the challenges that the assignment has been facing in regards to vandalism and all that, which actually highlights an issue of security in how the exercise and many other exercises are going on in the city. We have issues to do with vandalism of lights, street lights, which basically utilize the same kind of concept with the signage that we are installing. And this is, I think, a very huge concern where development is concerned. And as part of the Lilongwe Green Guardians, I would like to find out from Macra on how we adopt innovations, digitization and all those. Are there any plans that you have on how maybe we can adopt newer models of security? I know in Limbe, the police has started deploying cameras, CCTV cameras, to just enhance security. And looking at Macra and your mandate to be able to support digital communications, so whether it's the use of Wi-Fi, we know there's data yanu now in rural areas. Can we find ways on how we can utilize these same systems and all the other things that are available to just enhance our security? A capital city without a single CCTV camera that is by the public or for the public, I think we need to be moving forward. We can't leave that to just the malls and all that. So my question is, do we have that vision where we can now start moving to using digital methods or digital innovations to just enhance security on our streets and even in our cities? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Imani. I guess that concludes our second round of questions, and then we move to responses. Yes, as usual, I'll give you an opportunity to start. You want to start, Madam DOF?
Thank you so much. I will start with the issue on the removal of duty for broadcasting equipment and the possibility of having tax holidays for the new players in the market. As Macra, indeed, it's part of our mandate to engage with the various stakeholders to ensure that the players in the sector are playing in a conducive environment to develop and to grow. And specifically on the issue of the broadcasting equipment, at the moment we do not have that in the sector, in the play, but there are various other taxes that currently, as an authority, we are engaging with the stakeholders to make sure that they are waived, they are reduced, and so that we promote the sector, the access to ICT. So those suggestions that are coming in from our colleagues in the sector, like Kasupe, that maybe part of the lobbying should include the new players in the broadcasting sector. Those are welcome suggestions that you can bring to the authority as well, that will be put into consideration as well. On the issue of consideration to eliminate the annual levy for the players, you will appreciate that part of the Communications Act mandates Macra to indeed collect the levies from the different players in the sector. And I would like us all to appreciate the importance of this, the levy that we provide to Macra. The part of that levy is what is being used in funding initiatives that are like the Universal Service Fund that we have been talking about. That is being funded from the same 1% that you have talked about. So for us to implement the project that we are, the popular project that we are talking about, the Connect a School, give access to that little child in Tarire access to the internet, we need that 1% that you have given to us. So it is very important for us all to appreciate the importance of the contributions that each player is making to the sector. And when you see that ICT lab built in Intarire, you should appreciate that it is part of your contribution. You are the person that has built that ICT lab using the 1% that you gave to Macra. And the issue of the initiatives like the Muni Fund, you have the opportunity to go around and appreciate what we are doing using the resources that you are giving to Macra. So we do appreciate the levies, the fees that you do pay, you do contribute to Macra, because they are going a long way in promoting the sector. On the issue of the cost of broadcasting, TV broadcasting, MBDNL, and consideration for Macra to subsidize the MBDNL fees for the TV players. Currently, I think the legal framework that we have, it may be difficult for the authority to subsidize the players, the licensees' fees. However, it is important to make those contributions, like you said, and as Macra, we can engage with the other stakeholders, including the public, the MBDNL themselves, to make sure that their operations are also, in a way, that is able to promote and build the players themselves. So on that one, I think the best I can say is we will continue engaging with the stakeholders, including the MBDNL, but at the moment, we can't promise to say that we can subsidize the fees that licensees are paying to MBDNL. But yes, that is a good suggestion, and we can engage with the various stakeholders to make sure that what we are doing together in the sector is something that is able to promote and make the platform easier for all of us to access and to grow. On the, I think there was another issue on there was another question on the access to the towers. I think I'll leave that to my colleagues and the other questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam DOF. I see Bwana Dani wanting to come in as well. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think just to add on to what my colleague, the Director of Finance, has stated, and also maybe just to also answer to some of the issues that have been raised. I think on the issue of MDBNL, as she has indicated, current MDBNL is like any other licensee in the market. And if Macra were to come in and subsidize a particular licensee, then we're opening the floodgates. Or other operators also come in. Why don't you subsidize us on this aspect? Why don't you subsidize us on this particular issue? So as we speak, it may be difficult, but I think it's something that going forward we can be looking as we are trying to revamp the broadcasting industry, particularly I think the TV sector. I think also just to add on the issue of the annual levy, you will notice that it is segmented. The telcos are at 3.5% as levy. Courier sector is at 1.5%, and the broadcasting sector is at 1%. So you can see that the broadcasting sector has already been subsidized, in quotes, if I may say so. But it's a pot that everyone has to contribute into, because as the pastor has indicated, some of the levy funds are going into the Universal Service Fund. And the Universal Service Fund is doing all sorts of projects for all the sectors, broadcasting, telecommunications, as well as post and courier. So it comes into the issue of I think the access roads. My colleagues will confirm, but I think there is a project where we are rehabilitating some of the broadcasting sites to make them more accessible. I think USF may also come in, but some of the funding from the levy is being used for that. In terms of security, digital solutions, this issue is very cross-cutting. It's not only Macra alone, but we are engaging with all stakeholders, the law enforcement, security agencies, in terms of how do we posture ourselves in the digital world in terms of security and all other aspects of cyber security. So yes, we do take note of that comment, but just to emphasize that it is a multi-stakeholder issue that everyone has to be involved in terms of coming up with the solutions that can enhance our security in the digital space. There was an issue of defamation, so I didn't get it. Yes, okay. Yes, yeah. So I think one of the problems that we do have or face in the digital world or digital realm is the issue of anonymity, all right? The GOBA. So people can use the GOBA and post all sorts of defamatory articles. So the legal framework that we are developing is it places an obligation on what we call the service provider, all right, to get the details of the poster or the content creator, so that we have got, if anyone has got an issue, he can have recourse. Currently, we have got a working arrangement with Facebook, where Macra has been onboarded on the Facebook platform. If a person has got a complaint against a Facebook post, we do engage Facebook to at least try to unmask the person behind that Jugoba, so that law enforcement or other legal avenues can be pursued against that particular person. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard Dan. I think there's 2 more questions. I think I heard people asking even about mapping.
I think there was a question regarding a new system of security
Yeah.
that hasn't been addressed. Probably with what is coming up with the digital space, there are also new issues that are coming in regarding security, and that's why in the new bills we have a bill that is dealing with innovations as well. So within that innovation section, there is that aspect whereby people, students can innovate new ways of dealing with these issues to increase the security. I think we've seen even new programs being introduced at MAST in terms of security systems. So Macra is also supporting those innovations, encouraging those innovations, which are very, very critical. And we know that these new innovations can make our work easier. Definitely, where there is a problem, in today's world, we are saying that the digital systems should be solutions. So there is that possibility of coming up with new solutions. Apart from the CCTV, definitely there are new innovations that are coming up and will address those issues to do with security. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Kaori. I think there was a question from a gentleman there from Malawi government. About trainings and innovations, yes. The question was about Macra providing training and also sensitizing the local community about telcos and stuff like that. I think if I paraphrase that question from a gentleman, a student from the Malawi government school.
So on that one, I think I can ask Universal Service Fund. I think they have got they've got plans on training, digital optics and the like programs, and including I think the Yatu, which is I think focusing on internet in the rural areas. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair, for the guidance. Muni, tell us about job creation.
Job creation comes in. Maybe some of you don't know Munifund. Munifund is an ICT research and innovation that focuses on providing seed money to local innovators in Malawi to solve local solutions. And this concept, it extends to creating startup businesses for these innovations, or maybe we can call them projects. Just last week, we had an expo for Munifind, where our innovators were showcasing the projects that they have done so far from the funds that we gave them. So we are looking forward to promote these projects so that they can become like startup businesses, where they'll also create like job opportunities for people in Malawi, where like a startup business can develop or grow to a larger scale business or even a company, and create more job opportunities for Malawians.
Thank you, Moni. So we have incubation systems or processes that can incubate ideas and build them into businesses.
Right, good afternoon. I'm going to talk on the digital training. I'm from the Invest Service Fund. We have 3 initiatives that we are focusing on to ensure the communities are not left behind. So the first one is on Connected School. With Connected School project, what we are trying to do is to create a digital hub. So right now there are in different schools in different parts of Malawi, we have several labs that are being built, and after we've completed, we're going to furnish them with computers and connect them to the internet. And within a radius of 100 meters in each of the schools that we are building, we are going to create the communities will have access to internet for free. And on top of this, we are collaborating with Ministry of Education. They'll use these as hubs for training as well. And with the Moni, as he has mentioned, the trainings that we'll be conducting will extend to the communities at different levels, and this is one way of opening up the communities. So this is one initiative that we are focusing on. The second one is on Digital Ambassadors program. We are focusing on hiring youthful trainers. These will be deployed across Malawi, different districts, and the focus is in rural areas. We know if you are at the Boma or in towns, at least people have access to gadgets, people have access to different types of trainings, but in the rural areas, it's a different case. So with the Digital Ambassadors program, these will be deployed into the real deep rural areas to train the communities, to train people who do not have access to any digital trainings. And this program, we are targeting to train over 20,000 people. The third one, apart from the Connected School and the Digital Ambassadors program, the third one, we are targeting traders in different areas. So these are SMEs. With this program, we know now the world is opening up. E-commerce is the game that we have now upon us. So we'll be training we'll be training SMEs in different parts of Malawi, in selected districts. So these will be taken aboard on the emerging technologies and how they can trade online. So these are the major, or I should say 3 initiatives that we have to train people. But as I mentioned, I come from the Investor Service Fund, and the focus is in rural areas. Thank you.
Thank you, USF. I think this, unless if there are more responses from the officials in front, if not, then probably we can go to the last round of questions. Remember, even after these questions that are in general, we'll still have the consultation proceeding in the afternoon, where we'll be talking to officials that are sitting in those desks in this room. So do we have a set of questions for the last round? If not, maybe I can start, because if you are the convener, you also get the privilege to ask questions. Some are privileges. Question number 1, I think this one is going to go to Dan. Dan, despite that the Electronic Transaction and Cybersecurity Act was implemented in 2016, I think we've just seen it being tested this year. where we've seen that the law enforcers have used it to act on the criminal activities as were perceived. I think you also touched on it when you were talking about the Zigoba issues, but I think there are also issues about money fraud, where people are using their gadgets to steal ID, theft, and all that. It appears that probably we haven't done well in terms of promoting promotional messages where people get to understand that piece of legislation better. In Blantyre, I remember the DG talking about 38 crimes that one is likely going to commit with their gadgets. I just wanted to find out what is it that we're doing as Macra to make sure that we sensitize a lot of people that have now become social media influencers and all that, that they use that platform to talk about anything they feel like. That's number one. My second question is going to the board, Macra board, stroke the ministry. Before, we've heard that Macra sometimes has been entangled in some issues, maybe buying party cloth, sponsoring billboards. What is it that, how can you assure us that Macra is very independent in terms of that is making its decisions, and that powers that be are not looking at Macra as a cash cow? Because Macra, we hear that among the parastatals, I think is the big boy in terms of resources. Are the resources at Macra very safe from the powers be, so that they should not be biased towards any section of the society? And lastly, to the DOF, as we talk about promotional messages, is there a chance that sometimes we can TEDx in terms of the license fees and probably the services that you might require from the broadcasting sector, including the community radios, to say you owe us money in license fees? Instead of you maybe paying us that money, we'll use that to promote the messages that we're talking about, like in the cybersecurity, like the national mapping, kind of with TEDx. So yes, money is not exchanged, but invoices will still exchange hands, so that at least we can use each other to the benefit of this nation. I thank you very much. Yes, I've seen my vice chair from Misa Malawi raising a hand. Yes, those that are helping us with the microphone. We have Madam Chisomo at the back there. Sir, there, at the back. Yes, Chisomo.
I just wanted to add to what...
your name, your institution?
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm Chisomo Nguluwe. I'm asking this as Miss Malawi Vice Chairperson. Just wanted to add to what Wanda has asked about the Cybersecurity, Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act. I think that we all agree that much as we have all these social media platforms, it is not right to publish information that is has not been verified, that is defamatory. But I think the problem that as Misa Malawi, and I think as Malawians we have with the law, is that such acts are criminalized. So I wanted to find out if there are efforts to review the law, so that people should not really be, because it appears that the law in its current state, it sort of scares people from speaking out, saying their views, or criticizing those that they think they would want to criticize, because they're afraid of being arrested. Whereas when you have defamed someone, when you have made a libelous statement, perhaps the aggrieved party should seek civil redress. So yeah, my question, as I've said, is are there efforts to review so that people should not be arrested, but rather maybe people should seek civil redress? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chisomo. I'll give the chance to the officials to answer these questions, and that will be the end of our first session. Yes, we start with guest of honor. Would you like to start?
Thank you so much, Director of Ceremonies. I just want to pick one question. I think it's from you about treating Macra as cash cow, funding party or state institutions. First of all, I want to clear the belief, the perception that Macra is the big cash cow, because it puts Macra in jeopardy. Everyone subjecting to very serious scrutiny that they have this money that is splash. Remember, we also have other started organizations like MRA, which makes more than 1 billion a day. They make a lot of money. We have Teveta, 1% for every payroll in Malawi, you know, is for Teveta. They also make money. There are other institutions here in Malawi which make money, maybe more than Macra. And this misconception that Macra has lots of money, maybe is something that we need to clear. That's number one. Number two, I think for the past 4 years, I don't remember, you remind me if there is anybody else, where we have had Macra sponsoring any of the party or, you know, in terms of giving cash. Perhaps I was expecting that it would come as a compliment in this engagement to say we have seen Macra has really, this is a reformed, a changed, you know, Macra. That's my opinion. Finally, as Minister of Information, as government, let me assure you that money made by any statutory corporation, especially those that are under the oversight of the Minister of Information, is properly accounted for and deposited when there are proceeds deposited into account number one through Treasury. If I may be allowed, maybe, to say, this for public information, I think last year, financial year, it was about 8 billion, isn't it? Yeah, 10.2 billion to government, using statutory means, using, you know, mechanisms that are there by government, complying with the Finance Management Act. So we are celebrating, and you can join us celebrating that. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. I see Chair wanting to say something. Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Bwana Secretary. Let me, on behalf of the board, assure members present here that your money at Macra itself. And maybe as I will be closing, I would like us to remember one thing, that this is our Macra. Macra is a government entity. And for us, who are the players in communications, we need to realize that we can also invite Macra for a chat. We should not wait for Macra to invite us for a chat, but feel free to invite Macra for a chat. And I believe this process of engagement through the open days has started the chats, the various chats that we'll be having today and in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Chair. I see Director Minya, or is it DOF? Yes, DOF would like probably to comment on the TREDx issue that I asked about. Oh, Dan, you want to have the floor first? Okay, yes, Madam.
Thank you so much, Wanda. We are very open. Any institution that we engage as a business partner in different activities, you serve us, we serve you. So we are very open. Let's discuss the best way to make sure that we can settle what you owe us, and you can settle what you owe us, and we can settle what we owe you. It's a very open, there's a desk back there. We can talk about it.
Thank you very much, Madam DOF.
And I would like to comment, I think, on the awareness that was raised by Wanda. Yes, I agree. Awareness and education, I think, is these are some of the biggest tools that we have in terms of combating cyber crime and also ensuring cyber security or safety in the digital space. You may recall that last year we did several engagements on awareness. We had awareness workshops for the media influencers or those that have got social media influencers, I think, in the digital space. We had several workshops for them. We also had the workshops even for the media itself and other sectors of the economy where we try to sensitize them in terms of their responsibility in the digital space, the laws that are applicable in that space, and how to I think conduct ourselves responsibly online, and I think also talked of data protection as well. So it's a similar approach that we are taking or would be taking with the enactment of the new digital laws. There are so many players that are interested to partner with us in terms of awareness, and we intend to utilize all those because as you have indicated, awareness is very critical for us to effectively implement this particular legislation. Coming to the comment from Mr. Malawi, I would like to echo what the president of the Malawi Law Society, I think, said, I think some weeks back. He indicated that the law itself is not the problem. It's a law that has been benchmarked with our colleagues in the region and also beyond. So it's an international best practice law. You'll notice that not all free speech has been criminalized, but certain categories of free speech has been criminalized. I'll just give an example. If you make a false publication that is likely to endanger another person, we cannot leave that to a civil remedy. We are putting the life of that person at stake. We are putting his family in jeopardy. So that has to be criminalized. You also notice that the new cyber crimes bill has been modeled on the Budapest Convention. That is the one that is being operated or run by the Council of Europe. So it's a law that has been benchmarked with international best practice and also found to be in line with international human rights standards. So I think we are not going overboard on this particular legislation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dan Chioni, for that clarification. We'll be now taking guest of honor, Secretary to Information and Digitization, Mr. Chiamwaka, Board Chair, Madam Chibwana, board members, and all stakeholders and Macra officials. Will now be taking a lunch break. The coupons will be provided to us, and they will tell us where we are having lunch. But before we do that, I'll ask the board chair to give us remarks for this first part of our event. Remember, we're coming back for the consultation with individual units from the Malawi Communication Regulatory Authority that are present here until 4 p.m. So this does not in any way mean that we are finishing our engagement today. It just means that we take a break and come back and continue to have that engagement now with the different units that are present in this room. Please, let's make the use of them. This is an opportunity that does not come regularly. You may need some feedback from specific units. They are here to do that. So let's not go back and start then sending emails when we can get the feedback right away. With those remarks, allow me to invite the chair to close this part, and maybe I'll ask the officials to probably go. Don't worry about these chairs. You can just move to the other chairs that are already facing this side. Thank you very much. Ma'am Chair, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. Colleagues, I would like to close this session by thanking all of you for coming and for the sentiments, comments, contributions, questions, and proposals that you have shared with us this morning and this afternoon. The issues have been noted. Some of them have policy implications, and the guest of honor has taken note of them. Majority have technical implications, and as the regulator, we have also taken note of those issues. But as I mentioned earlier on, this is your Macra. We are in this together. For example, under advocacy, I would like to urge all of us to be active participants on advocacy. We should not wait for Macra to start the ball rolling in certain aspects of our work. We should feel free to advocate and lobby with those that are responsible for the specific areas and not wait for Macra. Let me also reiterate that the issues that have been presented here will be compiled in a report, and we are hopeful that this report will be concluded after the Nzuzu session, and I would like all of you to ensure that you have left your email addresses with the Secretariat so that we can share the report. I would also request you to continuously engage with Macra. If there are pertinent issues, feel free to contact us. Our doors are open. And if you know that there are issues between today and when we finalize the report that you would like to present to us through our email and other e-portals, and the email address, as you all know, is dg@macra.mw. Finally, it is my sincere hope that after lunch you'll be engaging the various departments, because that's where you have a deeper conversation with our team of experts for you to appreciate and to ask other questions. Let me thank the guest of honor for coming to present. Are similar to those that were raised in Blantyre, and to us it's a manifestation that these are some of the issues that need to be addressed by the Macra. With these few remarks, I would like to invite you to lunch and wishing you further and positive engagement. Thank you very much. Lunch is served. Bon appetit.
Introducing the Central Equipment Identity Registry, CEIR.
Yes, the CEIR will empower mobile subscribers and strengthen their security by allowing them to block or trace stolen mobile phones, check the genuineness of a mobile device while buying, and blacklist mobile devices involved in illicit